Welcome to Bio class. Today is the fourth lesson. Today we are going to discuss human respiratory system. Here in your book's diagram that in front of you, you can see that the different part. First we will see the anatomy part of it. Look at the structure. It start point here, that is the nasal passage. You can see at the same time that mouth cavity also, mouth cavity and the nasal passage, and it meets one common place, that is the pharyngeal area, oropharynx. Next it comes to the larynx area, then it goes this trachea. Trachea is 12 centimeter long at an average, and after that the several branches are there, that bronchiole, bronchus and the bronchiole, and ultimately it reaches to the alveoli. And here is the diaphragm. The function of the diaphragm I will tell you afterward. The reed cage, it is lungs, it is covered by the reeds and the costal muscle, intercostal muscles. All right, here this diagram, if we see a little bit elaborate view of it. So let's see, look at this diagram. Here the nostril, here air enters inside, and at the same time the mouth entry also there, and this is the very common place, common areas, where the esophagus is there, the one root, another root, that is trachea. So you have to keep in mind that the food it goes and it comes in the very common one root, and food goes in esophagus root, and the air enters inside the lungs. All right, and here to control it, glottis areas, the epiglottis it controls. Now look at the lungs areas. You can see that here the bronchi, those two bronchi, and the several branches of the bronchiole. Ultimately it reaches to the alveolar duct and the alveoli. This is the alveoli. You can see this alveoli. So alveoli, 36 crore alveoli is present in our body, and the alveolar duct also. Alveoli, you can see that it is connected with blood lines. Here the gases exchange takes place in this. So the blood line, when the oxygen, air enters inside, and here the exchange will take place. You can see this, and the alveolar, this the duct. So this part, it is full of alveoli, and alveolar duct, and the bronchiole and the other duct. It means that the huge number of alveoli, if we make it in straight form, it is a balloon like structure, make it straight form, and if we calculate the internal area of the lungs, it will be 93 square meter, which is 40 times our skin. It means that like amoeba and some other organism which they are taking directly through their skin. Now in case of human being, that is 40 times more advantage is there due to this kind of structure which is there in alveoli. I want to focus these areas, that is the nasal cavity. You know that nasal cavity it plays very important role. When air enters inside it, whatever temperature it is, suppose it is 40 degrees Celsius temperature. So here in nasal cavity it turns into 37 degree Celsius and then enters inside. If it is 15 degrees Celsius, then also it turns into 37 degree. So it means that nasal cavity inside the nasal cavity, it regulates the temperature, because inside our body the air should be in same temperature. Now another part we have to focus this area that I have told you, the common area. This common area, it may be kept in our body because of emergency. You know that when the nasal congestion is there, then nose this areas is blocked, then the respiration is possible through mouth. It means this route it goes to the lungs, and the same route it goes to the stomach. So this is the esophagus, and so one structure is there which can cover this opening. It means when we are taking food, when it goes there, then epiglottis, it closes this area, the glottis, I mean vocal cord area, and so that the food it enters inside the stomach. So it is very easy to understand that all the time we are not taking food. In a certain time, especially the swallowing time, it covers, and all other time it's open, an open state form, so that the air can enter through mouth and through the nasal cavity also. But if it comes in nasal cavity, it I mean purified, and if any microorganism also there, then also that nasal cavity can protect. Now mechanism of respiration, it is divided into inspiration and expiration, these two parts, inspiration and expiration. Inspiration, it indicates the inhaling, that when air goes inside our lungs, and expiration when it moves out. We may think that when air enters inside and then our lungs it becomes bigger in size, it gets its volume, and when the air goes out, then it turns into smaller. But actually this process is not true. I mean, this is the process actually is at first the cavity will increase, so that the pressure will drop here, and air enters inside. Okay, the first the cavity will increase. In expiration, the same thing, when a cavity will decrease, so that high pressure is created inside the lungs, pressure becomes high, so that air moves out. So next step we can see that these two process. Now during inspiration, let's see what happened. Here's a side view of our lungs. You can see that this lung cavity, these are the ribs, and here the back side of it, backbone, and the diaphragm. Look at the normal position of diagram, normal structure. During inspiration, what happened? The diaphragm activity will start. The diaphragm, which is normal, this one, this carved, it turns into this muscle, the radial muscle of the diaphragm, it contracts, so that it turns into straight form. See that if anything it was carved, now it is in straight. So if it is straight form, so that the lung cavity will increase, it will be a little bit outward, little bit upward, and inside the volume will increased. If the enclosed cavity volume will increased, so that the pressure will decrease, so that the huge amount of air from the nostril, it enters inside the lungs, and it goes to the alveoli and the exchange will take place. Exchange will take place. Next, in expiration, you know that expiration, this expiration part, in expiration what will happen? Expiration, it again turns into, this diaphragm again turns into its normal shape, so that the cavity will again turns into less volume, and the volume become smaller in size before that, so that the inside pressure will increase and air moves out from the lungs. So, in short, this is the inspiration and expiration process. Always remember that the diaphragm and the rib muscle activity, the lungs will become increased. So, the increased lungs having low air pressure, so that air gets inside our lungs, and after exchange, when the exchange takes place, the expiration process, again it turns into its normal shape. In this time of carved state, it becomes shorter and pressure will increase, and so that air moves out from the body. Okay. If you see this fact in these few points, see that during inspiration, the diaphragm and the mid-rib muscle contracts, chest cavity become larger in size, air pressure decreased chest cavity, so air outside rushes inside the lungs. Exchange takes place. Next, diaphragm rib muscle gets into its normal structure, so that air moves out from the lungs. One thing you have to remember, during the breathing cycle, when air get inside, there is some amount of air is always remains inside the lungs due to emergency, which is called residual volume of air. So, residual volume, it is an emergency air which is always available inside the lungs, even after expiration also. So, you have to prepare this point, this part, the diagram whatever there in your book, and the process which I discussed. Okay. Next next part, I'll give you few questions, question answer, and I'll ask few questions also, and after that we'll start the next part, transpiration. Okay. Thank you.